Okay, let's talk about basic parabola information. First of all, we've got the standard form, which is going to be y equals ax squared. And what can we tell from this? We can tell that it opens up because the a is positive and the vertex is at 0, 0, right down here. And we know that the axis of symmetry is y equals 0. It's right here on the y-axis. Now, we talked about this in class, about how if you have a whole number in front of the x squared, that your parabola gets narrower, and if you have a fraction in front of the x squared, that a term, then your parabola will get wider. Now, if it is a negative, y equals negative ax squared, that means that the parabola opens down. So here the vertex is again at 0, 0. And the axis of symmetry is still at y equals 0. And even at the bottom, you notice that it's just a negative sign that changes, but these numbers don't make any difference. The 3 is still more narrow, and the 1/3 is more wide or wider. All right, now, the standard form, the full thing would be y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. But we can't find much, or we can't do much with that except to recognize that it is a parabola. What we need is the vertex form, which is right here, which is the y minus k equals a times x minus h squared. Or you will note that for the most part, we don't use the k on this side. We can also put the k on the other side, so that it's going to be like this. Just going to take a moment here. Plus k. I like it like this. It really doesn't make any difference. I've used it both ways many times. But as long as you know that you can recognize the difference between the two, then everything will be okay. In this case, you will notice that the vertex is at h and k, and it's a positive h, though it's x minus h, so you have to make sure to switch that. And the k over here is positive k. When it was on the other side, it was negative k, so you have to switch that as well if it's on the other side. There are also some other pieces for the parabola, and that is the focus that sits in the bowl of the parabola, and the directrix, which is exactly opposite the focus and from the vertex. This is the exact same distance. So what can you tell from these equations? Well, you can find the vertex, hk. Notice that I made a point of doing both of these so that you can see that. Here it's a positive k. On this side, it's a positive k. You always have to switch the sign of the h. You can tell that it opens up if the a is positive and opens down if the a is negative. And you know that the axis of symmetry is x equals h in both cases. They're going to be the same. Parabolas also can open left and right. We aren't going to do a whole lot with the left and right, but you need to know that they can. And when that happens, you can see that the x and the y are just shifted. They change places. Now, it may seem or appear a little bit weird for you when you look at these, because now it's x equals ay squared plus by plus c. And it does seem a little bit odd because you have x minus h. Your h's and your k's still remain the same, your x and your y values. So don't let that confuse you. But your directrix is going to shift. It's going to cross the x-axis instead of the y-axis, and your axis of symmetry is going to shift, and it's going to go in the other direction, but there's still going to be the same distance between the focus and the vertex and the directrix. And your vertex will remain hk. Those don't switch. So what can we tell from this equation? It's the same thing. We have h and k for our vertex. It opens right because this is positive. If it was negative, it would open left. And the axis of symmetry in this case is going to be y equals k instead of y equals h. But if you see these, don't get too confused and don't switch. On your coordinate plane, your x is still your x and your y is your y. Just because we switched these here does not mean we suddenly have yx. So don't let that confuse you. Okay, that's the basics for parabolas. If you need some more information, try some of the other videos.